Good evening, viewers. Before we continue, it's important to note that the views expressed in this video are those of the writer Graham Peebles, and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of our channel. Today, on March 25th, 2024, we bring you a sobering narrative that delves into the grim reality of Ethiopia's hidden genocide, as presented by writer and charity worker Graham Peebles. His article, The Hidden Genocide in Ethiopia, published on CounterPunch, sheds light on the atrocities unfolding under the rule of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and his Prosperity Party. Graham Peebles, a British freelance writer renowned for his humanitarian work, sets a stark scene in Ethiopia, one of fear, violence, and displacement. He unveils a narrative of horror faced by the Amhara ethnic group, who are enduring a genocidal onslaught under the current regime. Peebles paints a harrowing picture of a nation torn apart, where Amhara civilians face daily threats of violence and arrest. He exposes the heinous acts committed by uniformed thugs, regional militia, and faceless drones used as instruments of death. Peebles delve into a chilling reality unfolding in Ethiopia, a reality marked by fear, violence, and the haunting specter of genocide. Part 1. Unveiling the dark reality, the hidden genocide in Ethiopia. The Ethiopia of Abiy Ahmed and his Prosperity Party has transformed into a dark and frightening landscape, where challenging the government can lead to violence and arbitrary arrests. However, it's the Amhara ethnic group that bears the brunt of this brutality. A community targeted with ruthless precision in what can only be described as a genocidal campaign of hate. Imagine drones hovering above, silent messengers of death, raining terror upon Amhara civilians as they navigate the streets, gripped by an ever-present fear of persecution and violence. This suffocating shadow of fear extends across villages, towns, and cities, leaving Amhara people trapped in a nightmarish reality where speaking out or even being identified as Amhara can spell doom. The cry for justice echoes far and wide as rational and peace-loving Ethiopians, both within the country and abroad, demand an end to this reign of terror. Stop the Amhara genocide, they plead, urging an end to discrimination, persecution, unlawful arrests, surveillance, and monitoring of innocent lives. Part 2. Homeless and Scared, the Plight of the Amhara People. This part unravels the harrowing realities faced by the Amhara people, a community torn apart by violence, displacement, and systemic oppression. In the 5 years since Abiy and his administration took office, the Amhara community has endured unspeakable atrocities. Tens of thousands have lost their lives, and millions have been forcibly displaced from Oromia, their lands and livelihoods pillaged by extremist groups. As if the horrors of murder and displacement weren't enough, a mass program of unlawful arrests has targeted Amhara individuals and Oromo opposition supporters alike. Hundreds of thousands languish in overcrowded prisons, with reports emerging of detainees being subjected to inhumane conditions and even fatal injections. Ethnic profiling runs rampant, with individuals targeted based on their ethnicity, beliefs, or opposition to the ongoing Amhara genocide. Surveillance measures extend to internet monitoring, social media scrutiny, arbitrary stop-and-search operations, and even the mere possession of images related to Amhara heritage. The plight of the Amhara people is a stark reminder of the grave human rights violations taking place in Ethiopia. Part 3. Leave them defenseless, the brutal crackdown on Amhara communities. This part delves into the devastating impact of leaving the Amhara people defenseless in the face of escalating violence and government oppression. Following unconstitutional plans to disband the Amhara Special Forces (ASF), chaos erupted as federal forces clashed with regional militias and volunteers. The result? Indiscriminate killings of Amhara civilians, documented by organizations like Amnesty International as potential war crimes. With a state of emergency in place, the government's powers expanded exponentially, leading to widespread violence, unlawful arrests, and gross human rights abuses against the Amhara community. The numbers, as reported by the Amhara Association of America, paint a grim picture of the atrocities unfolding. Deaths, injuries, drone attacks, rapes, and mass arrests. Despite overwhelming evidence of atrocities, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's dismissive statements to Parliament reveal a disturbing disconnect from reality. The question remains, is this a case of delusion or intentional deception? The Amhara people deserve justice and accountability, not empty rhetoric. Part 4. Hope Killed, International Apathy, and the Call for Action in Ethiopia. This part explores the shattered hope and international apathy surrounding the ongoing crisis. The initial optimism following Abiy's rise to power quickly faded, as his regime mirrored past oppressions, if not worsened. The ruling Prosperity Party's dictatorship and failure to address historical grievances have fueled division and hatred, plunging Ethiopia into unprecedented turmoil. Despite the glaring human rights violations and calls for action, the international response remains lukewarm at best. The lack of outrage and immediate action raises questions about global indifference towards the suffering of millions in Ethiopia. The plight of the Amhara people demands urgent attention and concrete action. Targeted sanctions and international pressure are crucial to hold Abiy and his government accountable for their atrocities. Dictators like Abiy must be compelled to embrace justice and democracy through decisive measures. As we conclude, let us not forget the voices of the silenced and the suffering endured by the Amhara community. The world's response, or lack thereof, will define our commitment to human rights and justice in Ethiopia and beyond. That's all for now. Thank you for joining us. Before we sign off, we want to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insightful news updates, like this video if you found it informative, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your engagement and feedback are invaluable to us. Until next time, stay informed, stay safe, and have a great day. Thank you for watching.